December 18, 2023. Counselor Smith.
Here.
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 Alaman.
Here.
Sims.
Here.
Andrews.
Here.
Got them all.
All right. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading and approve the minutes as presented for our meeting of December 1st?
Second.
Moved by Mr. Almond, second by Ms. Andrews. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, it's 5-0. Minutes are approved. We have no old business. New business 07-12-23 is a request for consideration to use the SOHO Plaza for the Homewood Athletic Foundation Cornapalooza event. Ms. Yost was out of town for the holidays tonight, so we're going to carry that one over until our first meeting in January and move on to 08-12-23, request to set a public hearing for consideration of sign variances for SouthPoint Bank at 1720 28th Avenue South. SouthPoint Bank, Melissa Zavaleta, night signs. Mr. Pugh.
Yes, who's here to talk about that? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, y'all come on up. And he, Bo would like, if you don't mind, signing in.
Sure.
And this is the new bank right over here next to Hero Donuts and the Italian restaurant, Luca,
That's correct.
right?
You can just sign your name right there for me, man. Thank you.
If you want, I can go ahead and let you know that, so this variance here is just to allow internal illumination on the main wall sign.
Okay.
The downtown sign district does not allow internal illumination. Size-wise, everything's fine. Brian, if you go on. Okay, and then the second one is to allow a second wall sign on the storefront. Down low, there's an ATM and a night deposit. There's also an illuminated sign there. And so there would also be a variance to allow internally illuminated. It says it's an illuminated cabinet.
What is the thing down here that says down lighting?
So that you can see the ATM and the night deposit. There's a sort of a downlight underneath the sign also.
Got it. To illuminate that area.
That's right.
Got
So that's both the second sign and
Illumination.
And illumination.
Okay, can we go back to the first picture, Brian, of the front? Yeah, there, okay, so that's the two-story part. So the first sign is above those big glass windows, and then the second is right there on the front. So both signs on the front,
So
nothing
join
on the
two.
side? Yeah, okay. Okay,
Now, there's also here.
Yeah, we're gonna get to
Kennedy.
that one.
Okay.
Brian,
I'm
we'll go
sorry.
to the
I'm
third
sorry.
page.
Okay, sorry.
I didn't mean to get ahead of you.
That's all right. So this one, it's, I don't really even know how to describe it or what to call it. It's not a pole sign because it's not mounted to poles that are put there for the purpose of mounting a sign. It's mounted to an accessory structure, which is intended to cover the
ATM.
drive-through ATM.
Correct.
So, since it's not really a categorized sign, you have to ask for a variance, I guess, for the whole thing, to allow an internally illuminated sign on an accessory structure.
okay, so, hold up, so, is this on the side of the building?
Yes.
So where would the sign face? Would it-
Towards the Lucas, is that what's going in next door?
Okay, yeah, so,
Okay, so here's the sign.
So as the traffic comes up, you would see it.
okay.
So the sign.
Oh, you would
I
see it
believe,
from
would
the
be on
people
this
coming.
side.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
okay, I see. So it's, I was thinking it was facing the opposite way.
Right.
Okay, then I was like, why would you want a sign facing the side of your building? That doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
Right.
So the idea would be that the people coming, whatever direction that is, on 28th would
That's
be
right.
able to see it.
That's correct.
Okay,
All
so
of it.
question, why do we need internally lit letters on a bank that's only open during the day?
Well, every other bank in town has that. So
Every
it's
other
a
bank in
brand.
town, so every other bank
Regions,
of this.
Regions has it, Trustmark has it. It's the same, and it's a brand. It's what they have everywhere. And
Right,
I've
but we
got,
also have it,
Does,
the ATM is open 24 hours.
yeah, and that's lit, so let's say, splitting the difference and not lighting the big upper and then down below is lit, but the ATM is.
Is backlit versus internal lit allowed, or is there any kind of?
No, it's categorized the same way.
and I can't remember, help me think. So Trustmark right over here.
Right.
They have a fully illuminated sign?
Yes, on
Yeah.
two
And
sides of the
Roberts,
building
did
and their
Roberts do
ATM.
any elimination? I think they did.
Yeah, they did.
They're
Roberts.
backlit, aren't they backlit?
Do you remember what Roberts Bank over there did?
I don't
Over
think-
here?
They're not, I remember discussing it, cause I remember we talked about the external versus,
I thought they
think
did
they're
a-
Down
backlit.
lighting of some sort.
Maybe downlighting.
Oh,
Trustmark definitely has two illuminations on one side.
yes, they
Either Roberts.
did get a variance for
Yeah.
internal illumination.
We need to change.
And they got a variance.
Yeah.
Is internally what they got.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say
Okay, they
add
did.
that to your change. Because it's internal letters everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. It just makes it more complicated than not.
I'm sorry, and also, I believe this was referenced a moment ago, but just for clarification, so this is the side, what we're currently looking at is the building face that's facing
28.
28, right?
Yes.
And so the ATM accessory structure, that sign is essentially perpendicular to 28. And you can-
No.
But,
No.
the
I don't
one
think
that is
so.
the structure
I
is,
You're talking
think
about
it-
this?
that one,
Yes.
yes.
It faces the building, right?
That faces the building.
Yeah. And the sign is on the
side
back
does.
of
You're
it.
right.
It's
I follow
perpendicular,
you.
yeah, it's
The
perpendicular.
other side,
No, perpendicular, sorry. I was like parallel in my brain.
So,
Yeah.
so you only see that if you're driving in the access between the buildings, not if you're turning off of 28.
No, I think you'd see it if you're coming like from Valley Hotel on 28th, like towards Central. I think you would see it from the
Possibly,
back.
but-
I don't see why that would be a.
Trying to eat your dinner
Yeah.
and.
I just
on
feel-
that wall, on
Yes.
those windows.
Yes.
My point, I guess I was gonna say, is to me that feels like more like, from the standpoint of the signage ordinance, just more excessive than the others.
Mhm.
Because at that point, you're already where you're trying to get or arrive. So I get it from a branding perspective, but it does seem excessive from the signage ordinance perspective, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I feel like this is my thing. You're not gonna. It's nobody's just gonna be suddenly like ATM and like. I mean, I don't.
Well, let's
You're either going to the
clarify.
ATM or you're not.
Both
This-
people
this
who are
is-
going this month?
this is not an ATM.
It's just,
It is a computerized teller. Okay?
Okay.
The reason for the lighting of this sign is when you're coming that direction, you don't get a clear view of this because it sits back in that cove as a part of the architecture of the building. So that's the only reason we're asking to light that, is to give whatever direction that is, people coming out 28.
But again,
will
I
see.
have to agree with Jennifer Andrus. No one's banking at night. I mean, I guess it is open 24 hours, but
is the computerized teller a 24-hour situation?
I don't know that.
okay, well that makes a big difference because if they're not banking during evening hours, it doesn't really matter if it's lit or not. I mean, to me, it's much more important that the ATM be lit if you're going to ATM than just a random teller that you may or may not be using after 5 o'clock at night.
Does the sign specify some sort of information about a computerized teller?
It just says the
Just
name.
Okay, okay.
Yes, Mr.
I-
I'm not sure, regardless of whether it's used 24 hours a day, this is just my opinion, regardless of whether it's used 24 hours a day or it's an ATM or a computerized teller or whatever the difference in those two things are, I just don't know that it's that hard to find if you're looking to find
Well,
it.
if you're-
I don't know that a lighted sign is doing anything to help you find that.
Well, you would assume you would be a SouthPoint, you'd be a bank customer, so you would know where your bank is. I don't just think random people
Correct.
driving down the street are just gonna suddenly go, hey, there's a bank, I'm going there.
That's my point, is
Yeah.
I think if you're looking for the bank, you're gonna find the bank, and if you need to find something within the bank, you're gonna find the bank. And so to have a lot of illuminated signs out there when the bank isn't open seems excessive to me, but that's just my.
Okay, Mike, explain to me, in terms of a public hearing, how much time would we need for that?
7 days.
Okay, so, and our next meeting is January the, well,
Eighth.
7 days.
January 8th, yeah.
The 7-day part
January
excludes
the
tonight
8th
from
is the
being
first
possible.
time we could have it.
Huh?
January the 8th is the first time we would have it.
Okay, so we can set the public hearing for January the 8th. I would just maybe encourage you, to speak to your clients.
They'll be here at 6.
Well, we're not doing anything tonight at 6,
Oh, you just said the public.
other than set the public hearing, which does not require any action on y'all's part. We can't set a public hearing, there has to be a notice period for a public hearing, so that cannot be set, the first possible day is January. So what I would do is encourage you to speak to your clients and see if there's some compromise that could come with maybe reducing the number of signs being requested, because that's clearly kind of an issue here.
I certainly hear that.
Yeah.
So make sure I understand if I'm
Yeah.
hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
The real objection is here.
I think that is, yes, I think that we already don't allow elimination, but we understand
Right.
what you're saying about, wanting people to, keeping the brand
Right.
consistent in that. But that seems like an excessive amount,
Okay.
considering that one sign doesn't necessarily really buy you anything.
I think we could talk through that.
Yeah, and I mean, and maybe it's just that you leave the sign and it's just not illuminated. Maybe that's part of it, I don't know. But I would just maybe have that conversation with them to see if there's something that they would be willing to give on, before the public hearing on that night.
But as far as everybody's concerned, is there understanding of these two?
Well, I mean, we can't really
Not
say,
necessarily.
we can't necessarily say, oh, yes, that's for sure, because we won't know that until we do the public hearing,
Sure,
because everybody has their own opinions, but, I think certainly the one sign is something that I think can be that could be something that maybe y'all could talk about, reducing. But what we will do tonight is, assuming somebody makes that motion, is that we will send it out for that public hearing, so we will set the public hearing for January 8th, so that would definitely be the night that y'all would,
Yeah.
clients and all, would need to be here for that public hearing.
Right, and the biggest thing, again, telling you what the client's
Yeah.
whole deal is. They're a local bank coming here, spent a lot of money building that. They feel very strongly they need the same brand that they have everywhere else.
I understand, but we also have our ordinances, so
I
they can either comply or not, but just because they want that doesn't necessarily mean that
Well,
they
I
can.
understand.
Yeah.
I'm trying to move it without
Trustmark had to go
recommendation.
through variance for the same reason he got it.
Yeah, got it, okay.
I move to move out of committee without recommendation pending public hearing.
That we're going to set for,
January the 8th, thank you.
Second.
all right, motion from Ms. Andrus, second from Mr. Almond, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, 5-0, so that public hearing is set for January the 8th, at 6 o'clock next door.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, and with that, we are adjourned.